Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. In an exclusive interview to Mojo Story, former RNAW uh, chief A.S. Dulat made some explosive revelations. He said that in 2023, there was a brief period of time when Farooq Abdullah wanted to do business with the BJP. Remember, that's the time when Article 370 was abrogated, and it was the build up to the assembly elections, and National Conference was really campaigning for the restoration of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. He also said that in 2024, Farooq Abdullah wanted to become the chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir, but that equation changed when Umar Abdullah lost the Baramulla parliamentary seat. But what is important, he's also said in his book that Farooq Abdullah privately supported 370 abrogation. Now, all of that has caused a political storm in J&K. Farooq Abdullah himself has reacted, and he said that Dulat's book is fiction and a figment of imagination. It's a cheap stunt. Now, Dulat also said in his interview to Barkhat Dutt that when he met Farooq Abdullah, at the time when he was detained in his house, he was sent by somebody from Delhi. He didn't name the person. He said that Farooq didn't speak much, but it was his daughter, Safia Abdullah, who spoke at length with Dulat. And that's the message he took back to Delhi. And since then, Safia Abdullah has also reacted and posted on X that Dulat is a spy and he's only faithful to himself. Now, to discuss this important issue that could really have large scale ramifications in the political atmosphere of Jammu and Kashmir, I'm joined by an eminent panel. I'm joined by R.S. Pathania, who is the spokesperson of the BJP. Remember, BJP is in the opposition in Jammu and Kashmir. I'm also joined by Advocate Ifra Jan, who is a member of the National Conference. Welcome to Mojo Story, Ifra. And Zafar Chaudhry, a journalist and a commentator and the editor of the Dispatch. He also joins us. Ifra, if I may start with you. Now, we know that in the build-up to the assembly election, the National Conference constant campaign was that they are for the restoration of Article 370. And the struggle is all about that. And you used to say that there are A teams of BJP, B teams of BJP, C teams of BJP. But now this book makes these explosive revelations that it was, in fact, the National Conference president who wanted to do business with the BJP for a short span of time in 2023. But then Dulat said that what changed was the Bharat Jodo Yatra of Rahul Gandhi, and that really made him change his mind. What do you have to say?
You see, Zafar Sahab, I don't care what one person is saying, what another person is saying. Let's look at the facts right now. Right now, it is the BJP that is sitting in the opposition. As an opposition, it is sitting as an opposition in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. If not for National Conference, BJP would have had its chief minister, BJP would have had its deputy chief ministers, BJP would have had its cabinet. It was only the National Conference that stopped BJP from doing it. And one of the, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, most of us do, we saw how one of the aggressive campaign and taglines of the BJP was that Article 370 ke hatane se, we are going to get Jammu and Kashmir rid of these dynasties. We are going to get Jammu and Kashmir rid of the Abdullahs. This was one of the timeline. This was one of the taglines that was promised. And this is why BJP literally put everything they had in these elections: money, muscle, power, threats, delimitation, reservation, skewed reservation. They did everything in the playbook to rig the elections in their favor, because at the end of the day, 1 billion people, Indians, would have asked, sir, what happened? You said Article 370 jayega, the National Conference would not be there. So it was the National Conference that stopped this huge, huge machine. So now to come to us and say, oh, but Doesn't this also make you a team of the BJP? No, it does not. We put the BJP in the opposition. Any team of the BJP, in spite of the fact that National Conference actually did not have a full clear majority on its own, we had to stitch an alliance with Congress. We had to stitch an alliance with the independent parties. The If we were friends of the BJP, if we had even a slight bit of whatever left for the BJP would have been in power right now, and they would have given everything. They would have given everything to be in power in Jammu and Kashmir. Again,
No, but the
it's a
fact is
wonderful
also,
thing to say.
Ifra, the fact is that you got a thumping majority, so there is no scope of anybody joining with the
We did
national
not
conference.
of 7 seats. We fell short of. So then,
Right,
I mean,
right. We
since
seem
we
to have
did not
some
get the full
audio
majority
problem
on
with,
our own.
yeah, we seem to have some audio problem with Ifra, but Pathania Saab. I was interviewing Sajado on a short while ago. He said that it's basically a fixed match between the BJP and the National Conference. Now, he was also referring to the happenings in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. But you know that Dulat Saab's book makes a clear mention, and he told in an interview to Barkha Dutt that in 2023, for a brief span of time, Dr. Farooq Abdullah was wanting to do business with the BJP. What is your first reaction?
Yes. Javed, first of all, a very good evening to everybody on board. One thing which in everybody knows that Dr. Farooq Sahab and Mr. A.S. Dulat, they are good friends. They have a good camaraderie. And history is testament to the fact that both of them have conjured and conspired to many useful and utilitarian things also, which happened in the Jammu and Kashmir politics. One part. Secondly,
Oh no, what
if
does
you
this
see
mean?
the
Conjured and
opening comments
conspired?
of
No,
the
no.
interview,
What does this mean? Conjured and conspired? If you can elaborate.
the way the way the way events unfolded in Jammu and Kashmir after 80, you see the Vajpayee years, which has been written by Mr. S. Dulat. It also gave several certain bold revelations, some untold stories also to make certain useful utilitarian and some mischievous points also. That's one aspect of the matter. But one part is that whatsoever Mr. Dulat has said and whatsoever he has deposed while interviewing himself with Barkhaji, first of all, National Conference officially, or even Dr. Farooq's private office, they have not denied, not disputed the same. So the next corollary becomes that all that glitters is not gold. So let me come to the matter, into the crux. National Conference is given to the habit of flip flops, where all that glitters is not gold. If I go to Sheikh Saab also, first of all, Sheikh Saab, he said that the better option to Jammu and Kashmir is that is India, and not an imperialist, not a fundamentalist, not a religion-based country like Pakistan. That almost 2 or 3 years later, he kept on harping on certain tones and certain sermons, which were partly and understandably not in the national interest. This is what the Bharat Sarkar meant, and his Sarkar was dismissed also. Now let's go to 1975. In
No,
1975, there is Indra
Pathania
Shekhar
Saab,
called
Pathania
Dr.
Saab,
Sir,
coming to the
sir,
point. Do you
sir,
dispute what
please,
Dulat Saab has written and said? Do you say it's correct or
sir,
it is wrong?
sir, I am rightly coming to the crux of the matter. I say that once it is public perception, once it is meant for the public, once it is public posturing, National Conference speaks one language. This is a big expose. What transpired between the top leadership of Bharatiya Janata Party and Dr. Farooq Abdullah, I am not privy to it, nor am authorized to speak anything about it. But one thing which is very clear and categorical: this entire election has been won by National Congress on the crest of that anti-Bharatiya Janata Party hatred. Just hatred out of nothing. BJP. I'll bring negativity. This is what the Varg ek 370 ko lana to NC jatana. He also put out his cap before the people. Give me your precious votes, and I will take care of this special status. Now this is a big expose. Let the National Conference play. Let the
Pathania
the national
Saab,
conference complete.
National
We are
Conference
of the
will
clear and
explain,
categoric vote
National
that this
Conference
article
will
was an
explain,
article of.
next,
Sir,
no, no, Pathania Saab, I'm coming to the point. National Conference will explain its position, but I am asking the BJP, where
please,
were you in a communication with the National Conference after the abrogation of Article
Javed Sab,
370
Javed
for
Sab,
a possible
I
alliance?
said whatsoever transpired behind the scenes, I am not privy. Neither I am privy to it. Neither I am privy to it, sir. Whatsoever transpired between the scenes, neither I was privy to it, nor I am authorized to speak about it. But one, an independent view, and not even an independent view, who's a considered kind of Abdullah since decades and decades, and I used, they conspired and conjured in the past also, and certain
Yeah,
useful and mischievous outputs also. Uh,
yeah,
so you see the Vajpayee, also full of such interludes and interjections about Dr. Farooq Saab and his family, about National Conference and about Jammu Kashmir, uh,
mm,
what Mr. Dulat speaks in it. And this book also is a big expose. You fought an election on the crest of restoring Article 370. And here it is that Dr. Farooq Saab wanted to work with the citizen. He said he himself want to lead from the front. He himself wanted to write the title that you expose. Though that's a separate matter that this
I get
article
it. I
should
get
have
it,
been
Pathania
much,
Saab,
much, much earlier had
but my
had
question
there not
remains
been certain
unanswered.
confusion or something like it.
Was BJP also wanting to do business with the National Conference? I go to Zafar Chaudhary now. Zafar Saab, you heard the National Conference spokesperson, the BJP spokesperson. What is the sense that you get? Because this has this has ramifications for the politics of Jammu and Kashmir. What happened at the time of August 5, 2019, when Article 370 was abrogated, and all those developments after that, and the assembly election. Now, for the first time, we are getting some sense that what was happening behind, according to Dulat in his book. Do you think this is going to be an important, you know, some important point in the political discourse of Jammu and Kashmir? This revelation that's come up by Dulat in his book.
That's the nature of politics, that it gets inspired and triggered by rumors here and there. But as you said, that we are getting some sense of things that what was happening around 2019. I don't
Yeah,
think that we are still getting any sense of things what was happening there. So there has been a bestseller book which has yet to be released, and
yeah,
I think already hundreds of copies have been ordered online on the Amazon.
yeah,
Dulat Saab has already emerged as one of the bestsellers in India over the last 10 years. This is
yeah.
his fourth book, and in the experience with the previous three books is that some are the other people who have closely read the book and they have understood the subject. They have ended up in saying that why did, after all, Dulat Saab had to say a thing like this in the book. There have been, some kind of reactions over his three books in the past as well. So I haven't yet read his book, but I watched his interview with Barkadat and another interview with a different channel. I don't find him saying that he has a sort of confirmation, or he's privy to a process, or he's aware of a negotiation or a discussion going on between Dr. Farooq Abdullah and a certain BJP leader, or some officer in the government of India, which brings us to an understanding that he was willing to have an engagement with BJP. Once you listen to his remarks very carefully, he suggests reading of a particular mind. He offers to you that this is how he read Farooq Abdullah's mind, that he was probably ready to do business with BJP. I don't think that tells us the story. But as someone who has seen politics in Jammu and Kashmir for the last 25 years, and particularly the recent elections and the developments taking place after 2018 and 2019,
Yeah.
on one hand, Dolat Saab says that Farooq Abdullah is one of the tallest, one of the wisest, one of the most experienced leaders in India. And on the other hand, he says that he had a bottle in his hand which carried poison, and he wanted to commit suicide by engaging with BJP on an issue like Article 370. Unless I read the book, this does not really make out that what exactly Dulat Saab wants to convey. I saw the
No,
interview
no,
with Barka, in
Zafar
which,
Saab, two, three things are clear. One, he
sure,
says that for a brief span of time, Farooq Saab wanted to do business with the BJP. Second, that he wanted to be the chief minister in 2024, but because Umar Abdullah lost the Baramulla elections, so he didn't
Yeah.
want to play spoil sport, so Umar became the chief minister.
So
And the
yeah,
third thing is that privately he hints that privately Farooq Abdullah was in was supportive of such a big boom. These are the three big takeaways.
So, being supportive of article abrogation of Article 370 for a politician from Kashmir Valley, particularly, is quite unbelievable. It's quite unbelievable. I mean, you need to employ your bare minimum political understanding of the situation to say that this is unbelievable. But Dulat Saab keeps on saying that this was the reading. This is his reading of Farooq Abdullah's mind. That probably he was okay with that, or maybe he could have cooperated on that had he been consulted or talked about. Second thing is that about his claim to chief ministership. I think that is something we have seen over last 23 years since the elections of 2002. There has been this discussion within the Abdullah household and in the close circles of party. Whenever the elections are nearer, there is always a discussion about that. That who among, and this happens in all family-run political parties. That whether the son is going to fit better the upcoming situation, or the father. So I think this controversy had happened in 2002 as well. There was a controversy in 2008, a very quite well-known controversy in 2008 as well, when two different sections within the party talked to people that about a competitive claim within the family. But as far as 2024 elections are concerned, I came across, I mean, I can say this thing that I came across father and son together at some point before the elections of 2024. I'm not saying that I was alone, but there were some other people as well in the room, and I came across these discussions where I fathomed with a lot of clarity. I understood with a lot of clarity that there was absolutely no confusion within National Conference about the chief ministership claim of Omar Abdullah. I didn't find anything that there was some kind of confusion between Dr. Farooq Abdullah and Omar
Right.
Abdullah. Another
Now,
interesting thing, another interesting thing that I find in Dulat Saab's claim is that Farooq Abdullah could have done business with BJP, but then when he hugged Rahul Gandhi during his Kashmir Yatra, and that changed his mind. So if there is something that transpired between Mr. Dulat and Dr. Abdullah, of course, none of us is of course aware of that. But the day this discussion was finalized between National Conference and Congress, I happened to be at the residence briefly because a lot of media persons had gone there. I realized the amount of relief, that amount of happiness, that amount of comfort that National Conference leaders were going through because they were able to conclude this alliance talks with the Congress. why why they wanted to have an alliance with Congress, because despite being aware of the fact that Congress was not a potential contender, Congress, as you see that they did not fare very well, and they did not have the potential of winning any seats more than five or
right.
six. Despite that, National Conference was so happy that they thought that as if they have already
So,
won
so,
the
so,
election
so,
by
so, just
just a
essentially, you
brief
are
point.
making
Just a
essentially, you
brief
are
point.
saying that yes,
They wanted to ally with Congress to convey this message to the people of Kashmir that there could not have been absolutely any point of allying with BJP now or after the election. So, which is why they wanted to have this symbolic presence of Congress with them. So, in these circumstances, if somebody says that the actual plan was to go with BJP, but then that hug with Rahul Gandhi transformed the whole thing. So, that's a little surprising, actually.
right. So you don't find this, making a lot of sense what is being written in the book or what's being said
Well,
by
it's a
Dulat Saab. But he
Well, it's a
told Barka
bestseller
in that
stuff.
he told Barka in that interview that Farooq Abdullah told him multiple times that he wanted to become the chief minister. You were saying that there was clarity on that. But if we're coming to the point, let's hear a clip of that interview before we go to Isra.
And I can tell you that there was a period, let's say 20 to 23, I wouldn't know the exact dates now, when he was quite willing to do business with the BJP, if if it was on reasonable terms. But it didn't
after the
happen as far
after the
after the
abrogation No, this
after
is a
the
very big
abrogation.
statement. You're saying Farooq was willing to do business with the BJP after the abrogation.
Yeah, yeah. There's a certain period I'm talking about, 20 to 23.
Hmm.
Then you see what happens, and I'm saying 23 because I think the basic point is that when Rahul started his Padyatra, then Farooq's mind began to change. He saw a youngster who he felt, could change India. And he had a lot of, this exactly what you're showing now, that hug,
Hmm.
which Rahul Gandhi gave him after they walked together.
Ifra, that hug changed the entire thinking at that point in time. He wanted to do business with the BJP. Then he saw a young man doing a yatra, and that hug, it changed all of that. You heard that soundbite.
Straight from a movie script, you know. I want to work with one political party, but then I go, I see the actor, I fall in love, and then everything changes. This is not how politics works. Zafar Sahab, I think you have to employ your basic minimum common sense to understand that this is not how politics works. That one a politician will come, he will just give you he will give you a hug, and you will say, "Oh, now I leave my all my politics, my alliances behind because I've fallen for this hug." I mean, this is, I don't even want to use the word on a live television show, but this is stupidity. And anybody who actually believes that, I mean, anybody who believes that somebody like Dr. Farooq Abdullah, you may like him, you may not like him, but you cannot disagree with the fact that he's a veteran of Indian politics. He's a veteran politician. He has seen seen big governments come and go. He has seen prime ministers come and go. That somebody of his stature, who's now around 96 years, who's around 90 years old, would fall for a hug and leave all his other politics behind and instead choose other politics because a youngster gave him a hug. This is plain stupidity. That anybody, I mean, if this sells your book, great, but no person with basic common sense should fall for something like that. As far as politics of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, Zafar Saab, forget if we keep the right and wrong aside for a moment, the reality remains that no political party in Jammu and Kashmir that has a future, that sees a future, can touch the BJP because it will burn you. Look at PDP. PDP made an alliance with the BJP. At one point, at least, they were one of the strongest political parties in Jammu and Kashmir for a very short time. Today, they're literally down to 3 MLAs in the assembly. Why? Because they touched the BJP. Why? And this is something that Umar Saab also said. He said that joining with the BJP will be political suicide for any political party. Look at Altaf Bukhari Saab. He gave one statement saying he's with the BJP. He was at one point, there were talks of Altaf Bukhari Saab becoming the chief minister. At this point, he's not even an MLA. So only somebody very stupid in Jammu and Kashmir politics would, number one, say okay to abrogation of Article 370 or support abrogation of Article 317 anyway. Number two, in any way ally with the BJP, because that would be an end to your political career. I'm saying keeping the right and wrong of it aside. I can also give you a long list of why it's morally and ethically wrong also to ally with the BJP. And one last point, I think one thing we're not clarifying here is what he has written in his book is not that National Conference was on board when Article 370 was abrogated. It says, even if we were to believe what Dulat Saab has said, Dulat Saab says that Farooq Saab said that we were not consulted, that National Conference was never consulted and National Conference was never spoken to. So for somebody now, I see a lot of opposition parties saying, oh, looks like you guys were on board and you guys secretly supported it. Please read the book. The book, even if you were to believe the bare minimum in the book says that Farooq Saab said that he was never consulted and that when such a big decision was taken, he should have been consulted. One last point, Zafar Saab, I see in one of the interviews, he goes and said, Dulat Saab says that Farooq Saab told him that he wanted to be the chief minister. Now, imagine this is not two second graders speaking to each other. These are two, this is a veteran 90-year-old politician. Now, would a 90-year-old politician, even if he were to believe he wants to be the chief minister, would a 90-year-old politician go to somebody and say, listen, I want to be the chief minister? ये आइसक्रीम मुझे खानी है. That is not something that any person would do. Even the person wants it, because these are not two, as I said, these are not two fifth graders speaking. This is a 90-year-old veteran politician speaking, and he wouldn't know. I mean, politicians don't speak like this. We know it, you know it. But Dulat Sahab wants his book to be a bestseller. He will keep saying things like this. He will keep dishing out misinformation, because when you make a clickbait headline, more people click and more people buy your book. Looks like by the end of his career, unfortunately, Dulat Sahab is now turned into an excellent businessman. He might as well just start
Ifra,
investing in stocks
Ifra
also.
Barkha asked him that, and he reiterated. He said that multiple times. Dr. Saab told him that he wanted to be the chief minister. In fact, let us hear that soundbite. What exactly he said.
But I tell you about now, even now, 2024, Farooq said to me at least 3 or 4 times that I am going to be chief minister. I want to be chief minister. I'm going to be chief minister.
This
And
time,
that is why,
this time in 2024.
absolutely. And that is why Omar Abdullah contested the parliament election from Baramulla. Farooq was hoping Umar will go to parliament and he would become chief minister. But Umar lost that election. And then, after the assembly elections, the father didn't again want to be called a spoil sport.
You're right. You heard it, Ifra. Now,
You see,
now,
again, Dr. Sam, please go ahead.
Pathania Saab, I was, as I said, I was interviewing Sajad Lone, and he said that either Dulat will retract this statement or this could be a launching pad for a future alliance with the BJP. Do you think that can be a possibility? The National Conference is very clear that it can be suicidal, but we don't know in politics. Now, this is something that Dulat is saying. National Conference is, of course, denying, but we don't hear from BJP except for, targeting and, asking National Conference for. But what is BJP stand on all of this? Would BJP want to have an alliance with National Conference?
मैं, Mr. Javed, I am not privy. I said earlier also, I'm not privy to any such behind the scene deliberations or consultation. But let me be very clear and categoric. It was considered stand of Bharatiya Janata Party that Bharatiya Janata Party अपने दम पे जम्मू कश्मीर पे चुनावों में जाएगी. That's very simple. And I am very frank and forthright in admitting that the biggest mandate, the biggest number of votes the people of Jammu and Kashmir have given, that is to the Bharatiya Janata Party, though that's another aspect that National Conference has got and secured a greater number of MLAs. There has been a division of votes in Kashmir, and three political parties except NC and PDP. You leave and you start with that Engineer Rashid's party, you start with Apni party and Varli Sadad Loan's party. There's almost difference of only 60 to 70,000 number of votes. So, though, anyhow, who wins, that's the end of the story. But
So
my
you are saying
submission that
essentially that
please
A
do
team,
not
B team, C team
the way
were present at that time. You're basically clubbing all of them. No? You're saying that if all of them would have come
we
together,
are
still.
we are only Bharatiya Janata Party. We don't have any A, B, or C team, sir. I'm just telling that National Conference should not pose itself as the only champion of the cause of the Kashmiris, the only one who has the mandate of the Kashmiris. That's not the case. That's absolutely not the case. I see the politics of flip flop, the politics of hard to try to understand its roots. You see, in 2001, Mr. Omar Saab was the Foreign Affairs Minister. He led the front along with Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji in the UN also, went to USA also. And my elder friend from National Conference is saying it's morally and ethically incorrect to join Bharatiya Janata Party. Does she mean that Mr. Omar Abdullah was morally and ethically incorrect in joining the Bharatiya Janata Party led Sarkar? Now, Umar Saab said yesterday also, I had a very cordial and very fruitful meeting with Saab. Is it morally or ethically incorrect? He has again said that the rail connectivity to rail connectivity to Kashmir, and virtually it's flag off by the Pradhan Mantri ji. This is a memorable moment in the history of Jammu and Kashmir will gain. Again, is it morally and ethically in for national conference also? So my the point which I want to make from the first very earnest, from the first very second, that national conference wants to live in a taboo. They simply show the garden paths to deceive, to double speak, to indulge in demagogy, to indulge in duplicity. This is the veins of national conference. You speak one
Okay,
part,
Zafar Saab,
you
Zafar Saab,
understand another
right,
part, you recognize
right.
part,
I
and
want to,
public the fourth part of the
yeah,
aspect.
Z- Z-
So I think this is a big expose. Let the national
right,
conference respond. Let
right.
Farooq Saab private office
I
respond.
think,
Let everything
I
come to
think
the
it is
clear.
not. It is for national conference which is responding. It's also for BJP to make it stand
That's
clear
it.
that if in the future, which I'm asking you, will it be open to an alliance with the national conference? You're not answering that. But Zafar Saab, the point is that this book has come out. He has given multiple interviews. He has said all these things. How much of a damage it causes to national conference as a party which has come to power with a thumping majority on its own? Do you think that there will be a dent in the parties after all this has happened?
Certainly, I think the damage has already been done to the National Conference, and there will be more damage in the days to come. You see, the National Conference has been in power for the last 6 months, and there have already been some issues there that people see that the promises on which the party came to power, but the party hasn't been able to do, has not been able to walk the talk. Mostly because there are things which have to be conceded, accepted, and complied to by the center, which center is not giving that kind of space to the national conference. So the government run by national conference is already in a difficult situation, and verify claims such as these make a lot of difficulty for the national conference. Particularly, I mean, if somebody else was saying, say a retired government official or a politician or someone else was saying that there was something that Farooq Abdullah was thinking about joining hands with BJP, that would have been entirely different. But everyone in India, in Kashmir, is deeply aware of the friendship between Dr. Abdullah and Mr. Dulat. There is at least a recorded history of 38 years of friendship between them. And if such a close friend is making a claim, and that too, that he's quoting or citing from a conversation between the two of them, so national conference will have a lot of difficulty in clarifying. I think Dr. Farooq Abdullah has already spoken out, and he has spoken out very angrily. He said that these are cheap tactics, and somebody just creating controversy out of it. So, but yes, of course, I think it's a difficult situation for national conference.
Well, those are the pictures of Dr. Farooq Abdullah when he was in detention. And I
Yeah.
remember that day we covered the press conference and he spoke to the press. He waved to the media. That was the time we entered his residence months after he was detained. But if take the last comments, what is the sense that you get? Already there is a sense that a lot of promises were made, but uh, perhaps the delivery is slow or it's not happening. And now this has come, as Zafar was saying, that it is Dullat who is a close friend of Dr. Saab, and he has praised him all along, and has said these things also, but constantly said that he's the biggest politician of India, tallest leader, Muslim leader in India, and the biggest leader in Jammu and Kashmir. He said all those things also.
You see, Zafar Saab, I am not obviously authorized to speak on Dulat Saab's and Dr. Saab's friendship because again, it's a private matter. But if you were to ask me as an adult, I would say that this is not what friends do to each other. Friends don't throw each other under the bus to sell their book. So I don't know what sort of a friendship it is and what sort of a friendship is being talked about. But one thing is very clear. I think Dulat Saab is also very clarified again and again. He said in his book, he very clearly says that Dr. Saab said that we were never taken into consideration when Article 370 was removed. So obviously, if we are clearly saying that if we are to believe him, he says कि इनको पता ही नहीं था. So that is one thing which was the stand of National Conference throughout, that we were not consulted. This was not done. This was a unilateral exercise done in a
Yeah.
in their typical bulldozer way and not in the constitutional way. That was number one. Number two, he says, Dulat Sahab says that, they were willing to do business with the BJP in 2023, and then Rahul Gandhi hugged him, and suddenly Dr. Sahab changed his mind because the hug was because he got a hug from Rahul Gandhi, and when he Rahul Gandhi hugged him, he decided to change his mind. I do not even think that this is such a juvenile kind of a statement that I do not think this even deserves a response. Real politics does not work. You and I and everybody knows that politics does not, a hug here and there does not change politics. It does not change sentiments. It does not change allies. If hugs changed everything, today every country would have been India's friend, but that doesn't happen because the hugs don't work. This National Conference aligned with Congress was consistent with National Conference's own stand. It was consistent with us joining the India Alliance long back. It was consistent with us creating PAGD in 2019. It was consistent with our politics. So there was no inconsistency here. And to say that, oh, we wanted to do business with the BJP, if we did, what happened? Why didn't we do business with the BJP? Maybe if he's on your show next time, tell him that what was the BJP's response to it, because so far even the BJP spokesperson is smiling and not telling us what happened there, because none of it existed. As I said, somebody wants to sell his book and they want to concoct stories. We can't respond to that. The bottom line, Zafar Sahab, remains that it is the National Conference that has kept India's largest, most powerful, richest political party, that has made this political party, the BJP political party, with money, Modi, muscle, media. We are the ones who made these guys sit in the opposition. And inshallah, we will make them sit in the opposition. People can
Right.
see this. That is a fact, and that is the reality. Whatever you say, I say, Pathania Saab says, Dulat says is irrelevant. The reality remains that if it were not for the National Conference, we would have had a BJP's chief minister in Jammu and Kashmir right now.
Right. Just one point, Ifra. The book, I am using the full quote. We would have helped. Why were we not taken into confidence? It says we would have helped. It was not. It doesn't only say that we were not consulted. The exact quote
You
is we
see,
would have
again,
helped. We were not
this is
taken.
problematic, Zafar Saab. Like, imagine somebody, any political party that would have helped in the abrogation of Article 370. It is essentially that political party would have essentially dug its own political grave in Jammu and Kashmir. As I'm saying, keep the right and wrong aside. So, no, Dr. Farooq Abdullah is a veteran politician. For him to say, "Oh, we will help with the abrogation of 370," is essentially saying, "Oh, I would like to dig a grave of National Conference." He would not do that. He's
Right.
Again, as I'm saying, he's a veteran politician, and no politician in Jammu and Kashmir would do that. Even the BJP, even the Jammu Kashmir BJP at this time does not talk too much about Article 370, because even they can sense where the sentiment is. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So this is
Last word to you, Pathania Saab, before we wrap up.
Yes,
Yes, Pathania Saab,
Javed sir,
last word to
we
you
said it
before.
earlier
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Yes, I we said it earlier also, and we repeat it just now. Article 370 is now a relic of the past. We know, NC knows, everybody on street in Kashmir knows. One part. Secondly, Article 370 was a big stumbling block in the four-dimensional Philip and four-dimensional development of the Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370 was a taboo. Article 370 was something which led to a garden path, which simply promised and did not give
But
anything.
Pathania
It
Saab,
was
we
an
are not
article of
discussing the
it
merit,
is
Pathania Saab. I'm sorry to say, we are
that's
not
what I'm saying.
discussing the
That's
merits
what I'm
and
saying.
demerits of
If
Article
if now
370. We are discussing something
if
else.
now the beans have been spilled, if now the beans have been spilled, and ultimately truth has come in the public domain. So this exposed national conference and all exposed Kashmir, the so-called Kashmir-based political parties, the Kashmir interested political parties, the Kashmir vouching and Kashmir betting political parties, they are all exposed. Jammu and Kashmir is onto a new track of better development, better four-dimensional film, better security network, and now everybody should at least contribute. And once again, the unanswered question remains: why this flip flops on the political and rather on the social, economic, political profile of Jammu and Kashmir in the past 7 decades? Why Kashmir has seen such bad days? Why Kashmir has seen turbulence in the past 6 or 7 decades? These are some questions which need to be answered, which need to be
Right.
picturized, projected, and virtually explained properly in the historiographic profile. These are fixed questions. I think the coming generations would come. The new,
Right.
the Naya Kashmir, what we say post 5th of August 2019, this will certainly build it stilts on not on shaky foundations, not on untruths, not on falsehood, but virtually a narrative that suits the interest of the people of Kashmir, the youth of the people of Kashmir, the far-flung area of the
Right.
people of Kashmir, and
Right.
particularly, and I end it by saying that Bharat Sarkar and particularly Narendra Modi ji and Bharatiya Janata Party, sabka saath,
Right.
sabka vikas, sabka prayas. This is
But
our hallmark, and we particularly stand by it. And virtually this is what
right.
ultimately it will unfold and what it will virtually happen in Kashmir too, sir. Please,
Right. We'll have to wrap it
please,
here,
David sir.
though I will have to wrap it here, though I asked you that what could happen in the future. Would BJP enter into it? And I should not get a clear answer from you, but that is all that we have on the show today. Thanks to all our panelists for joining us, and thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.